This week on Erotic Awakening, helping your follower embrace their seat of power. Kansas City is the best, and boobs go bad.
Boobs go bad? Oh, crap. Welcome to Erotic Awakening, an exploration of all things erotic. If you are offended by adult topics or prohibited by law, we recommend you stop listening right now.
This week, Patreon supporters received bonus content, including free entry into our upcoming Alchemy, Turning Jealousy into Compersion Zoom class.
Head over to patreon.com/Erotic Awakening today and get your bonus content and support the show.
And thank you to our latest supporters, Jennifer,
Michael,
Karma,
and Carol.
We very much appreciate you guys pitching in a couple bucks. Keep the show up and going.
Absolutely.
Hey, Don.
Hi, Dan.
So today on the podcast, you came up with this topic. So what does this topic mean?
I did. So over the weekend, just a little bit of background. So over the weekend, we did a huge intensive at Kansas City's The Nine.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one of the classes that was about embracing a leader's seat of power.
Yep.
And I actually teach a virtual class called for leaders to help their followers embrace their seat of power.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't looked at this class in a while. It is going to be on Zoom in the next couple of months now. But it made me think, yes, we help leaders embrace their seat of power because they need to be confident to lead. And they're the driving horse,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're the team of horses pulling this relationship along.
Okay.
But followers need to embrace their seat of power too, or they're going to make the horses stumble. That's my analogy for right now, right? I just came up with that. Isn't that cool? So how, or at least that's my way of thinking. That's our way of doing power exchange, right? So that followers, submissives, slaves, whatever you want to call them, also need to embrace their seat of power, or the leader, the master, the dominant is not going to be able to embrace their seat of power as well. So as a leader, I really believe that. You look like you doubted me.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm just listening. I'm just processing.
Okay. So as a leader, how do you help your followers embrace their seats of power, whether their seats of power, this just popped into my head, whether their seats of power are as followers or other things that they want to do as followers.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because they might have other goals as well while they're followers. So how do you, like when I wanted to become clergy.
Yes.
So how do you, instead of me continuing to ask this question,
It's becoming a very
long rhythm,
becoming a very complex question. Yes.
No, it's very simple. How do you help your followers embrace their seats of power?
I'm curious about your analogy, and if our listeners like that analogy about are you saying well, we'll come back to
It can be perceived that way.
Yes. Okay. So one of the things that we heard at just this past Monday, we attended something called MS Mondays, and Sir Keith said that a healthy MS relationship is constantly reevaluating itself, or something to that align.
Mm-hmm.
You and I are believers in that, and that healthy power exchange relationships are by default constantly growing.
Absolutely.
So if you do not perceive power exchange to be something that's in a state of growth, that you're happy, we've arrived where we need to be, so let's sit and watch TV and just let things be, you may not find this topic as valuable. I think that it is important that with my follower, with you as a follower, with my other followers, that I continue to give them the opportunity to grow and expand upon themselves. So that is part of what I am doing from where I'm at to help my follower claim that seat of power, or to put it another way, to fully become the self-actualized follower that they are. To both see, and that's the fun part, is that being a follower, being a submissive, that kind of thing, is not a passive doormat. I'm a submissive, so I get to just follow where I'm led and just do what I'm told, right?
Though some of us do fantasize about that, I would like to admit.
You keep on fantasizing about that, and
it won't work
as long as you
term for us.
No, as long as you keep the ball rolling with all the 900 projects that you can have whatever fantasy you want. It's just like you can have sexual fantasies all you want as long as I get to get laid when I want to get laid. And not or.
It's not or.
So to continue to keep you empowered, first off, I have to continue to be confident and continue to be in a place that I can lead. Right.
Okay.
And you have to continue to be able to trust me that when I lead, that it's worth following.
Mm,
So that if the reason that I am pushing is because you're facing a fear, that I can evaluate whether it's a legitimate fear or a fear that is holding you back and can push you through that appropriately or protect you if it's something that you need protecting from. You've got to trust that I am willing to do that and I'm willing to make that effort to do that. That in the case of you and I, that my love for you is not such that I am going to coddle you or walk on eggshells, as you like to say.
right.
So, one of the things I can do is to continue to demonstrate being trustworthy, to continue to focus on growth for myself, which sets a good example,
Mhm.
to continue to make, when I do make mistakes, to acknowledge that I've made a mistake and acknowledge, take accountability for that.
You mean you're human?
Absolutely. Those parts, as far as you know. Great. There's no current proof that I am not a Highlander.
That is true. There is no more proof.
So there you go. So it's really just putting you in a position that you can succeed. It's paying attention. It's being mindful and recognizing what your inner self wants and pushing you to go get it, and what your inner self needs and making sure that it is provided. Right.
Mm-hmm.
The flip side of it is to also reinforce you are a submissive or a follower or a slave, whatever terminology we're using, and to continue to reinforce that and to reinforce that that's what serves me. It's what serves our relationship. It is the right place to be. That there is no, just because you are growing, able, capable, kick-ass human being, that you are not submissive. Right. And I think sometimes submissives get that mixed up that, well, I do all the things and I take care of all the things and I am strong and smart and motivated. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'm not submissive. And no, you can be a strong, smart, motivated, and submissive to someone.
Absolutely. So it sounds like, so the way you answered that was there's things that you have to do for you as a
Mhm.
leader
Yep.
to bring confidence and empowerment to me as the follower, and things that you can reiterate with the follower to help the follower gain their seat of power.
Right.
So it's sounding pretty interdependent.
Absolutely. I love that term, interdependence. Thank you for lining that up.
I remembered it.
It's a lot of it is door opening. It's
To what?
showing people,
Explain. Yeah.
it's showing somebody the door and maybe giving them a little nudge to go through it, but it's not doing it for them.
Right.
With somebody else in my collar, they're in a super interesting, matter of fact, everybody in my collar is on a path,
Yes.
right? For me to acknowledge it's their path that they're going on, I'm just helping to nudge them along. And sometimes they're doing it, oh, I'm going to do this for you, sir. I'm going to lose weight for you, sir. Or I'm going to learn Latin for you, sir, which is great. Feel free to context it that way. But unless I've said, I need this thing done that does not value you, you're not truly doing it for me.
Yeah.
You're doing it for us and you're doing it for yourself.
But we want you to be proud of us.
Absolutely.
So maybe not doing it for you, but it is a goal of ours. And we're using the power exchange as a tool. And we want our leader to be proud of us and what we've accomplished,
Mhm.
at least in that regard. So, and I feel like I've got other stories in my head to share that may question that a little bit, but they're not there enough for me to put them up with any context. Maybe it'll come up later and we can chat about it. But because, and the reason I say that is because not all followers are the take charge, be in
Mhm.
charge of
Sure.
things and stuff like that. And some do. And I've had dominants tell me this, right? they'll tell me, my follower has a problem with the Zoom classes going on right now, not just mine, but a lot of Zoom classes by submissives, because they just want to follow, and all they're seeing are these submissives that are in charge and doing the things. And I had to tell him, well, that's because this is Zoom.
Hmm.
Someone that's not wanting to take charge and do the things is not going to be leading a Zoom,
Right.
right? So you have to wait till you're in person to see other people that are doing dominant submission like you're talking about, right?
Hmm.
So yes, we're talking about, at least for me, you empower me when you kick my ass out the door and say, you want to be clergy, thou shalt go be clergy, but I can still tug on my leash.
Right.
And when you do that tug on the leash thing, right, when I'm in 2 states away and doing clergy training, and you text me and say, are you thinking of me? Or are
Hmm.
you being my best follower,
Right.
or anything like
Right.
that? And that kicks it in. So we're using Power Exchange as a tool to do this.
Hmm.
But I like that tool.
Something that you mentioned that's very true as well is that you have to recognize who is your follower, who is your authentic self for your follower. And if they
Mhm.
are a take charge kind of person, give them the opportunity to take charge. And if that's not their authentic self, give them the opportunity to, don't force them to be someone that they're not.
Right. But you also you realize that I do like to take charge, and I do like to do all the things, and I do like to have my list. You also make me take a day off.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, you see, I overwork, or maybe not even overwork, but we're at a place where I should be spending time with someone. So it's not even about the work. It's about taking the time off to go spend with someone
Hmm.
when we're visiting, or things like that. So, and you're very good at putting your foot down and saying, get to a stopping space,
Right.
play a game,
Yeah.
get to a stopping space, go whatever with whoever.
Hmm.
So you're really good at that too.
Well, thank you. Speaking of taking a break, we're about to head into the city of Kansas City, and we're not going to have barbecue. We've already had barbecue in Kansas City a couple times. We had some nice advice on where to go to get barbecue, and we've been following that advice. It's great
Mhm.
advice so far. We do want to take a moment to mention how kick-ass Kansas City is. We've been here for about 2 weeks in our continuing RV adventure. We're just north of Kansas City, and not only is this one of the best camp sites, best
Oh my
RV sites we've ever
gosh.
been in.
It's it's a fabulous camping site. I can't get over. I really want to come back for more reasons than the campsite.
Mhm. But we've also presented a couple days at a place called the Nine here in town. It's
Mhm.
been in Kansas City as a tradition for many, many years. Our last time presenting for the Nine was back in 2018. And although they have a new venue now,
Mhm.
it is such a neat town for a alternative or kink community. There is something going on every night of the week here in Kansas City. And like Monday
And
night,
doubly.
yeah, we had, do we want to go to this or that? And both of them sounded great.
Well, 2 Monday nights ago, we did the MS Monday. We got
Mhm.
to have a great power exchange conversation. There was, what, 25 people there
Yep.
at least?
Yep.
And that seems to be the normal number. And then last night, or I forget what day of the week this is, so a couple of nights ago, I guess it was, there was a hypno kink
Yeah.
class that was not a class, a gathering.
Gathering. Yep.
That was really phenomenal. I just sat on the edge because it's not something that I'm trying to learn. I'm more of a hypno kink bottom. I don't want to know all the secrets. So I sat on the edge and kind of did the newsletter. If you guys got the newsletter, that's when I did it. But you said you picked up some really good stuff. That's really cool when we can
Yeah,
attend
absolutely.
classes.
Absolutely. And it's been really cool. We've met a fair number of podcast listeners as well.
Hmm.
We had people come down from Iowa to come attend
Oh,
one of our
yeah.
classes.
Oh,
Happy
they were
birthday, by the
fascinating.
way.
Were those the
Um,
ones we used to design the ritual?
yes. Yes.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Good. Good, good, good.
And Pop Sparks came in and said hi.
Had a couple of other people.
And a couple other people as well. I will go check my notes so I can specifically say thank you. But just a great experience here in Kansas City at the Nine.
Mhm.
Very appreciative of the opportunity to come down here. If you didn't come to the Nine to see us do the weekend presentation, and you're sitting there thinking, well, I didn't know you were there. That's because all of our classes are clearly outlined on the Erotic Awakening newsletter.
Yes, they are. So we have upcoming events in person in Chicago in a couple of weeks at Kinky College. In Minnesota, I'm going to be vending in Phoenix. We're designing something for Cleveland and a few other places for next year, right? And I've been putting out a crap ton of Zoom events lately, trying to do like once a week at this point instead of once a month. So formal dinners, alchemy, changing jealousy to compersion, psychic hygiene, another Reiki 1 certification course, all of this stuff. There's a huge list of things at this point. So keep up with all of our events, books, discounts, and more via the Erotic Awakening newsletter.
And the only real reason to join it is to get your EA shout out, like the awesome Heather in Ohio,
Devin in Kansas City,
Kaylin in Wisconsin.
Catherine. Did I write that down?
You wrote it down as Catherine.
Yeah, but I bet it's Catherine. In beautiful Wisconsin.
Foxy in Chicago.
And Dwayne in Florida.
Head over to eroticawakening.com and subscribe today.
Indeed. So Ohio Hedgehog has been sending me stuff again. So remember when I talked about the museum that in England, they had to put up the sign, no nakedness in the museum because people were taking photos of being naked in the museum. Well, now they're doing it in the sunflower fields. So a new sunflower field opened up like a month ago, 6 weeks ago, or something like that. And already, this is in England of all places, and already they're having to put up signs of no naked photography in the sunflower fields. This is a family-friendly place. People are just stripping and taking photography.
Whatever floats your boat, people
I
in
didn't
England.
think England was like that.
I tell you what floats my boats from the tentacles and food on boobs. What does float my boat is the super hot whipped cream on boobs that Travers sent over. I posted to the Discord recently.
Yes, he did. You know what? And I wanted to pipe in on that for just a second because it's whipped cream on boobs and it's 2 women. But I finally figured out what it was that turned me on about that.
The boobs?
No, not the boobs. Remember, I'm not so much into nakedness. I mean, it's that one of them has the hand tightly uplifting one of the other girl's boobs.
Oh, sure.
It feels very power exchangey to me. Like here, I'm taking this thing, and that was hot.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. And then Basano's posted food is boobs, and I'm not going to try and describe it. You'll have to head over to the Discord to see it yourself. I am mildly disturbed by that one. I don't know what to make of that one.
The Travers sent me some tentacles, and one of them, so there's some hot ones, some really hot ones. But then there's one of them to where you can't tell that the tentacles are doing something to the girl because the tentacles are underwater, right?
Oh.
So if you were looking at her just above water, you couldn't tell. And honestly, as much as I love tentacle sex and as much as I love water, that would freak me the fuck out.
Yes.
Something that actually grabbed me from underwater. So still hot. And then Basano sent a tattoo of tentacles. It's a tattoo of tentacles coming out of a pussy.
It's okay.
So there's got to be some sort of thought behind that, but I'm not sure what it is.
That's not great editing, folks. That's Dawn actually being speechless.
Well, usually you see tentacles going into a pussy, not coming out the other way.
Right.
So, and then Enigma sent tentacles fucking a pregnant girl, and a lot of our Discord followers, peoples, put fire emojis for that one. So I'm like, oh, some people are not just tentacles. It's the fact that it's a pregnant person. So I see some fetishes going there.
Yep. And I saw a tentacles where the person was actually sitting in a tentacle-y monstery chair of some sort. That was pretty cool.
Oh, that one. Is that the one where it was like had the tongue right underneath her and was licking her?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was hot.
That was hot.
Indeed.
Be a part of the Erotic Awakening Podcast community.
You can support us on Patreon and get early access to the podcast, a free version of the audiobook Polyamory Toolkit, free ebooks, exclusive chats, member-only Discord access, and other content.
Find all the goodies at patreon.com/Erotic Awakening today.
Help others like us. I'm stumbling all over the place. Help others find us. Take a moment to support the podcast. Rate us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you listen.
Or just tell your friends.
Join the conversation with us and other listeners. Use the links from the Erotic Awakening website for our growing Discord channel.
And feel free to reach out to us. We love interacting with you.
Contact us with questions, podcast comments, or just to say hi.
You can find us on FetLife as Dan and Dawn.
We are Erotic Awakening on Instagram.
Or just toss us an email at eroticawakening at Dan and Dawn at Erotic Awakening. Or just toss us an email at, I'm just making your life hard on the editing part. Or just toss us an email at Dan and Dawn at eroticawakening.com.
Bye, Dan.
Bye, Dawn.
I should leave that in there.
You may well do that.